to be fair. It is Jack and Bread time. The time that we go, we look at lists, we agree to disagree. Sometimes we laugh, we love, we do all the things.
Really, you know, the real lists were the friends we made along the way.
Exactly. By the way, I just wanted you to know that you will see me in a full pimp outfit on Thursday, so it'll look good.
I'm not even gonna ask why. Is it a Teams thing? Is
Yeah.
it a Teams thing? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's me. I mean, the rest of the team's not doing it. I'm just doing it because sometimes
okay.
you gotta do stuff.
Bit weird. Okay.
You want to talk about some creations of Bile?
I'd love to.
Who, by the way, 20 Bile players, 5 have won majors, or at least GTs.
I mean, I think they're onto something. You know.
I heard Fight on Death is a thing.
It's really good.
You know, it's
It
weird.
got nerfed in Dark Harlequins.
Yeah, I was just about to say there used to be this elf play faction that could do that, and now instead they give out sandwiches.
Yeah, but those sandwiches are half the time have a mortal wound in them.
And yeah.
All right. So looking at Churchy here, he gave us some feedback or some. He said, "Hi guys, I've been working on a Creations of Bile list for the LGT. If you could dissect it, it would be amazing. Well, statistically, you have a 25% chance of winning the whole thing." So already you're off to a great start in list selection.
Sex Panther, 60% of the time works every time.
Every single time.
Well, this is specifically for the LGT and the terrain. I would like, let's go through what's in here first, and then we'll start putting stuff out. We got a Prince. Running around with some wings, some warp time, rocking it out. We've got double Lord Discordant, both with Blade Flamers, one with Twisted Regeneration, one slams the sight. And the
they have Demon Weapon. The Demon Weapon on the Demon Prince is, I believe, it auto wounds and ignores phase caps and feel no pains, which is pretty good. And then the Demon Weapon on the Lord Discordant is every Ula-Akaka or whatever. And that one is every successful wound roll is a mortal wound in addition.
Yeah, that one's a monster.
Yeah, that one is boss. And then also Flames of Spite means every 6 to wound is a mortal wound. This guy just dumps mortal wounds on you. Yeah. With zero regard for
I like this dude
sanity, safety.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, he just hits.
2 times 10 cultists, 5 legionnaires. Basically, he's using them with a baleful tome so he can get a prescience, an extra cast out there. We've got 10 cast terminators of the Black Rune of Damnation, 2 chain fists, 4 combine meltas, 2 master of executions, 3 times 5 possessed, 7 chaos bikers with the black mace on the sergeant, 3 chaos spawn, 2,005 points. Probably going to be a problem there, but we'll work on that.
Yeah, so first off, you're making Fix My List real easy, Churchy. Thank you so much. First step, cut 5 points. That's it's my first step there.
So I would like to get, while I love the Lord Discordant, on the LGT terrain, infantry works significantly better on that because of the fact they have those 2 big L's that are offset with each other. I think that we take the 1 Lord Discordant with all the mortals, keep him, the Prince has wings, which fly is always amazing, and we get ourselves another HQ. Not that I don't like Lord Discordants, because they do smash now, but he's going to be running around stuff, so I don't know if I want 2 of those in that particular terrain set.
It makes it really hard to deal with his army because, Lord Discordants move real quick. And
he bangs. It's the terrain set that all I'm worried about.
I mean, that's fair. But he can just have them going around the sides and just no matter where you go, you're gonna catch a Lord Discordant.
True, because they're gonna be rolling with the Terminators because they're gonna move up and then they're gonna separate like the Lions from Voltron.
Yeah, so, I mean the the one problem here I think is that the Terminators are going to die very quickly. Even with Black Rune of Damnation, there's a lot of armies that just go, I can reroll the hit against you, and I can hit on 2s.
And we also don't have an Apostle. I'd really like to see an apostle. Illusory supplication.
I mean, that's a whole nother discussion. Like, we go down a rabbit hole of like, okay, so we remove a Lord Discord and we add a Dark Apostle, literally just to make the Terminators more durable. And then we can give them a 5-up Feel No Pain if we include, like, if we give them Marcus Slanesh and we include a Psyker. And then we're going down this rabbit hole of like, oh, we're just going to continually pour points into this Chaos Terminator unit.
We also have multiple things that are multiple objectives that are in the open at the LGT terrain. So we have to have some things that are either throwaway, or we can try to take some of these objectives with characters.
Yeah. I mean, the Lord Discordants and the Demon Prince are quite phenomenal at that because their bases are huge. So you can really just go in an L and then stick out the side and just be like, yep, I'm touching the objective with the Lord Discordant. And would you, in fact, like to tangle with this? And they will usually not.
Here, we've got a super chat here. Sticky Knickers, regarding Born Protector strat, does the unit performing Born Protector's bit have to fire Overwatch, have line of sight, or be in range to fire Overwatch and trigger heroic intervention? Good question, because I think they're all tied together, to be honest. I have to look at that because I've never used Born Protectors without seeing the other unit. I don't want... I have to look that up again to do the specifics of it, because typically you have to... I have to look and see if they have maze, because I think that they are all tied together. Because you fire Overwatch in place of the squad that's being charged, and then you heroic intervention afterwards. So I have to look specifically at that. I wish I had a 100% answer on that. But in order...
My guess, not knowing anything, would be that you are able to not fire Overwatch and still do it, but literally that's a guess.
Yeah.
So
I will read.
Yeah.
I will read the thing.
Look what you've done. You've made Brad read rules. There's no way I could have done that.
It's terrible.
I guess if I paid Brad, I could have. Yeah, so that works.
Yes. I do anything for the money.
Yeah. So regarding Churchy's list, I do agree with Tech Priest Dicky here that bikers are super expensive.
And
they're hard to hide because they're huge, and they are very vulnerable to just getting killed, and they have to walk around walls. I'm not as big a fan of them especially not as a combat unit, right? A bunch of chain swords at strength 6, which is cool. A bunch of chain swords at strength 6 and a black mace. Not really what I'm after, you know? So I would probably cut that, and it's a lot of points right there.
You do not have to be able to fire Overwatch.
Cool. It says you
can fire Overwatch in place.
So then you are not required to.
So you can.
Anyone who told you that you have to is a dirty liar.
Dirty liar.
Punish them.
Terrible people.
Mm-hmm. So looking at this, I really want like the bikers to turn into other things.
I want them to be Talons badly.
Yeah, Warp Talons. The problem is Warp Talons are somewhat expensive. I mean, they're good in Creations of Bile because they go up to strength 5.
And they fight on death.
They do fight on death. That is pretty
that's
super
huge
dope.
With somebody that's re-rolling all wounds.
Yeah. So I mean, if we replace the Chaos Bikers, the problem is I want like 2 units, and to do that we need to cut another decent amount of points, 45, 50 really, because we're 5 points over. So I mean, we could cut 2 Chaos Spawn and make it a single spawn, and then just bam, the Chaos Bikers become 2 units of Warp Talons.
I mean, I would do that in a second. The Chaos Spawn is literally there for blocking and stuff anyway. So 1 is the same as 3 to me, to be honest.
I mean, Tech Priest could be right here that he uses bikers to get first turn Specimen for the Spider. I don't believe Specimen for the Spider requires you to do it every turn to get a 15. Because
it's 4 per, is it not?
It could. I think it's up to 4 perks. It's like 1 if you kill something, 3 if you kill a monster or character, I think.
But I'd definitely like 2 Talons instead of these bikes here. I just don't like those at all. I've had no success whatsoever with the bikes. It's just
it's the having to run around walls is the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
The
big
warp
thing. And
talons get to go right through.
he's also getting ready for the LGT, where the infantry fly is going to be ridiculously better. Those two in the middle are such a big deal in the LGT. You know, the two L's they have that you can go into, those are so much better for anything that has breachable.
You know what I also want? I want these cultists to become accursed
Cursed
cultists.
cultists, I was that,
Oh yeah.
1,000%.
Oh, cursed cultists are phenomenal. I love them. They're just an amazing unit.
We have to have these. Churchy, you have to have these if you're going to the LGT, because multiple objectives are out in the open, in the packet. So with the accursed cultists, you can string the cultists out. They kill them. You regen them in the command phase, and you retake that objective, and you still get your points. You have to have accursed cultists if you're going to the LGT for sure.
Yeah. So that brings me to this Chaos Terminator brick, and I can't tell whether he's doing it wrong or whether he's doing it right by not putting any buffs on the unit. It's possible that the more you include characters to buff the Terminators, the more you're just pouring points into that black hole. Like it's totally possible to build a Terminator unit that requires like 300 additional points of support, and that sounds really bad. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, fair enough, Tech Priest. You can include one unit of accursed cultists and one unit regular cultists if you want those cultists sprinting around raising banners. That's fine.
I just don't. At that point in time, I don't. I want to be able to take the objectives. Where the tournament is going to, you have multiple objectives that are just outside of terrain pieces, so it's amazing. Also, whereas the mop, yeah, the master possession is, for me, is a must-have.
Well, it feels like this list is built around double Lord Discordance and a Demon Prince just tabling your opponent, which is not terrible.
I don't hate it. I feel like especially because I know the terrain. I've been working on the LGT terrain for a while, prepping with a lot of people, and it's one of those things that is a big deal, that you have the tools to be able to take these objectives and to know what terrain you're playing on. They've got two pieces that you can use very, very well if you're infantry, if you can get there. And they have a lot of pieces that are a lot of objectives that are going to be slightly outside, and you're going to be able to get that difference between you and your opponent if you've got objectives you can take from out of line of sight and they don't.
I do like the Lord Discordance for that. Their bases are thick, as I mentioned before, and they can easily get 3 inches and then go all the way back and touch an objective.
Sure, we just need I think we just need multiple things on that. So I think we need accursed cultists. We could use these Lord Discordants, and then we put those warp talents in for sure. But I like that. Well, I want some accursed cultists. I want warp talons instead of these chaos bikers. And if we're going to stay with the Discordance, I'm all right with that.
What I really want here, honestly, it's harder to play. So if you don't feel very comfortable with character protecting and like burying a little unit in here and then characters string off of it and then they're safe, and if you don't feel comfortable doing that, then don't take this advice on board. But you could totally just cut the Terminators and have like a ton of units running around. Like Master of Executions, if you can character protect it, then that's great. And yeah, I agree with Ron here. The list feels like it just doesn't have enough stuff. The Terminators are going to be
more
fine.
Trash.
They're going to be fine. But like if a 5-man Warp Talon buries itself behind a wall with a Lord Discordant behind it, that's pretty scary. But you have to make sure that you don't just let your opponent hit them. The Chaos Terminators are harder to kill. So if you mess up, it is better for you, and you will mess up at some point, generally during a tournament. So it's not necessarily, just saying, oh, if you're bad, do this. If you're good, do this. It's covering for the mistakes that you will make at some point. But if you feel more comfortable, if you feel like you can feel comfortable like playing character shenaniganry, I would love to cut the Terminators and just be like a 3rd unit of Warp Talons and, a unit of, I don't know, Chosen, like little Chosen units running around, things like that. Just lots of nonsense. And then you might even be able to keep the bikes, although probably not if I had to guess. Yeah, they're very expensive.
They're super expensive for what they do.
So expensive.
I need
and they die really fast.
Yeah. I definitely need double accursed. I want the double warp talons. And after that it's up for grabs. I just need those things in my life.
Honestly, I kind of just want to cut the Chaos Terminators, turn them into like a unit of 5 Chosen, and then another unit of 5 Warp Talons, and then like just Chaos Spawn. And just do that.
I don't hate that either.
So, Prime and Go, what happened to the Demons tier list is when making the schedule, someone who shall not be named,
shall not be named.
Who shall not be named, forgot that Brad is going away for the back half of this week. So that means that Fix My List couldn't be tomorrow, which it normally would be. So the Demons tier list is tomorrow. John and I will be doing it. It should be a ton of fun. Brad won't be there. Maybe those two things are connected. Maybe they're not. Who knows? But
I could have done it. I will be literally on a plane at the time. So I could have bought the Wi-Fi and then I'm from the plane.
Yeah. Just have like an office green screen thing in the background for Skype.
And tell everybody, look, if you guys could keep the announcements down, I'm kind of busy right now.
Well, just if you hear an announcement starting, hit mute really fast. And then just be like... I don't care if you're in the middle of something. Just be like, anyway, back to you.
Yeah, 235 Adam is too much. The bikes are too much. Too much.
Yeah. Ron says, swap the Termies and bikes for Chosen, some Warp Talons, and some Legionaries. Get a bunch of stuff, including some extra obsec that can be all over the board. Yes.
Agreed. We just need more stuff, period.
The Terminators feel like it's not what this list wants to be, which it wants to be a full MSU character protecting nonsense.
It's also because we're playing the tournament we're playing in has lots of firing angles with that. The LGT, there's lists that just bring the pain. You're not going to be able to sit, especially if you don't have all the other buffs that go on that are on these Terminators. You know what I mean? But you're just going to get people that are going to be able to kill whatever they can line of sight on. So the best way to hide is to be behind something. So
Yes.
We want to be behind those L's. We want to have things that can either character take or a cursed cultist snake those objectives that are out in the open. So we need ways to score, which is going to be discordance characters on those objectives, or the accursed cultists leading their cultists out and then regenning them in the man phase.
Yes, because there's not a lot of armies that can just pick up a whole unit of accursed. What Brad's saying here is you put a unit of accursed cultists behind terrain, and you string 1 or 2 guys out onto the objective, and you leave it. And then if your opponent takes a swing at the unit, it's very, very unlikely that they actually pick up the whole unit in one activation unless they're like a full crisis unit shooting it, in which case, sure. Nothing's living through that, so it's fine.
Sure, but they also just shot a whole full crisis unit at my cursed cultist, so I'm okay.
Exactly. Exactly. So, but not much kills the entire unit in one swing, and they generally ignore morale. And then in your command phase, they just regenerate onto the objective, and you're like, all right, that's my objective now. So it's very difficult to interact with that unit without just dropping a lot of pain that wants to go into your actual army on it, whereas nothing else is really going to be able to be on there. If you're playing this army, what you are doing is you are burying 5 people behind a wall, and you're stringing a Lord Discordant out with character protection behind it onto an objective. You're stringing out a Cursed Cultist onto an objective. You're just gaming their shooting to where they can't stop you from holding these objectives. Master of Executions in Creations of Bile are good. They're really good, especially with Mark of Corn. They go to Strength 9. Like, they don't need Mark of Corn, honestly.
Yeah, they also...
They're already Strength 8.
They do bang, though.
I like having 1 just for the deny strat. That's fine. I can get behind that. But I don't think you need Mark of Corn on them because as Creations of Bile makes them Strength 8. And that's really the breakpoint you want.
Swinging for the fences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so 2 Master of Executions feels like a bit much. I don't think your army is going to have problems with melee armies. I think your army is going to have problems with shooting armies. And so you want to just include a lot of nonsense.
A lot of nonsense, but things that can actually get there. Mm-hmm. Things like the Talons will help a ton with that.
Yeah, well, also they can ruin hop. So they can go from a ruin in your backfield to a ruin in the midfield to your opponent's face.
Right. Because we're looking for the LGT terrain, so we're going to go from that ruin to the mid L to actually the other L if you need to. You know what I mean? So it's a big deal on that you have a plan to get to those shooting armies, and they can actually hold people in combat.
Yeah, So that's the changes I would make. Honestly, I like the Mono Lord Discordant plan. Like literally, this is a character protection plan. You extend Cultist onto objectives, you extend Lord Discordance onto objectives that can't be shot, and you put a Demon Prince, character protected, in the center doing Warp Ritual. And that's your game plan. And then if your opponent steps to you, you hit them. But if you run screaming across the field at a Tau army, you are going to get murdered.
100%. You have to go. You have to be not seen to not seen, as I have said possibly several times in the past. Pre-measure, pre-measure, pre-measure. See what kind of angles your opponent can get at you. Figure out where you can hide, the best places to hide. Conversate. Have a conversation with your opponent on making sure that they agree with you on that, and try to make sure that you're just getting the least amount of shots possible at you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Basically that. I like cheap throwaway spawn units because against melee armies, those things are the worst, like for them. Because even better than Master of Executions against other combat armies is a single spawn.
Yeah, because no one wants to have to commit something to that.
Nope. They can't put like bolters into it. That's not going to do anything. So they have to send a real honest to goodness combat unit to deal with a checks notes 25-point model. And then you get to trade up all day. Yeah. And then when they send something into that unit, you fight on death and you're just going off at people.
100%.
Yeah.
There's a reason that this has been doing well, because there's a lot of combat armies out there right now.
There are a lot of combat armies. And I think you won't have an issue with combat armies. So you want to hard tech against that, because you want to tech against shooting, because shooting is what's going to mess your day up. Honestly, if you're not ready for a shooting army, they're going to kill you. You're never going to get to fight on death. You just get to death.
You know what I'm ready for?
What are you ready for?
The army that just went up to the same win percentage as Tau last week.
Wild.
Bam!
Absolutely wild. Tau is, in my mind, a top 4 army. Easy.
Apparently
depending on the terrain format.
Same level as Guard.
I dropped them for Nova because the terrain format means if I go second against Necrons, I literally cannot win unless they like charge me with the Silent King or something.
Ooh, I'm gonna kind of give a
oh my god, this giving me flashbacks.
This.
Last night I had to make this graphic, and whoever you are, Zib, I got my eye on you.
We've got Pask. We've got 2 more tank commanders, a Primaris Psyker, a company commander. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 10-man infantry units with literally all of the free stuff.
Yeah, well, I was making this, and I was just like, let's see if it'll fit. It won't fit, but let's see if it'll fit. And I'll go back through and just go free things instead of like, or I just leave it and just we know what it is because law. I mean, you're taking free last cannon. And then it kind of fit. So I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to leave it in. Every upgrade is on the board. There we go.
5 Scions. I love that they have a power. The best thing about this is that everybody has a power sword. They went to the armor and they're like, are you sure, man? I'm never going to use this. But, okay. But,
yeah.
Then we've got Elites, Command Squad, Platoon Commander, 10 Veterans. We've got 3 Scout Sentinels with las cannons. We've got 3 heavy weapon squads with 3 mortars apiece. A Leman Russ, a Manticore with full payload, a Chimera with the multi-laser heavy bolter. This has all of the stuff.
This is trash.
Oh, man.
You should like it.
I do love it. The only thing that sinks is the fact that a lot of armies can pick up 90% of this in a turn. Man, my problem right now is
sure.
No. It's not even just fixing the list right now. It's talking about the things that we can do with this list, because we've got all of the orders. We have so many orders everywhere right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not ready for this will mess you up because it shoots hard.
It shoots hard. The only problem is all the tanks are made of blast. So that is a big deal.
Yes, if they get touched, it's not great. I know John was including a lot of mortal wounds in his guard army so that he could, get himself out of combat that way. But to be honest, all of these multi-meltas do mean you have to touch them with something significant, because otherwise the multi-meltas are going into combat and are going to hurt bad. And then if you are still alive, like John was pulling himself out of combat with like 5-man assault marine units when Nick played him, because he would just smite, do the other psychic power, mortal wounds. Oh, look, you have 2 guys left, multi-meltas, and anyway, the Demolisher Cannon is free, and now you're dead.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind more Psychers, tell you the truth, in here. Because I think we already have just all of the orders in the first place.
It's hard to say, right? Because I like everything that he's got. I like the 3 tank commanders. Although, honestly, considering they're the only thing that does damage, I kind of want 4 if you're already committing to Pask. But, yeah, that's expensive. I legitimately pulled up the pricing on GW's website, because I was like, there's no way Pask is 275.
Oh, yeah.
He was 275.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of which, the company commander, if you're watching this, Zib, the company commander is... You can just take a power sword and a bolter for 0 points, so just do that.
I do love the fact that he's got the Relic of Lost Cadia, because screw you, Chaos.
Oh, yeah, if Chaos plays this, they cannot win.
This is insanity.
Have fun with that.
I really love the Scout Sentinels, and I really love the three units of mortars a lot. They pick up so much trash. And I'm a huge fan of infantry squads. I still think that they should be slightly cheaper. Sorry, guard players. But move is nuts. You can take the board fairly quickly.
I think they should be cheaper, but I think they should be cheaper while not getting all their upgrades for free.
Yeah,
I think 40 points for a base infantry squad is fair, and 60 points for this loadout is also fair.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I'm pretty sure most guard players don't want all this extra crap. They want a 40-point unit.
To be fair, though, with 6s to hit auto wound, the amount of damage this list can put out if you're not ready for it is insane.
Yeah.
Because every unit's going to fire 40 shots at you, and if they stand still, I don't think they can stack orders, so I think they're just rerolling 1s. I'm a little unclear on guard, but they might just be able to reroll hits in Cadia and just be like, yeah, that is a lot of saves that you have to take. And that's the point where las guns start killing tanks.
That is true.
I'm not even joking.
Especially if they're casting. No, I'm just saying.
They auto wound.
Yeah,
right.
It's huge.
They auto wound, and you take 3-ups, and you take 50 of them. You're dead.
The secondaries and the wound on 6s is a reason that guards' win percentage has climbed up 20% in the last month.
Yeah, the list shoots, and that is enough to get you to 50% win rate straight up.
Yep.
If your list just blows people off the table, it doesn't matter what other problems it has, that will bring you to a 50% win rate. And this list will blow you off the table. He had some notes, so let me go over those. All right. The main idea for secondaries is to play inflexible command, boots on the ground, banners / R&D, and possibly by lasgun and bayonet, or psychic interrogation depending on the opponent. The command squad is mainly there to provide additional range for inflexible command. The veterans sit in the Chimera with a platoon commander. There'll be a beacon for inflexible as well, and provide some mobile punch on a flank. I don't know what any of those secondaries are.
I do, but the
you
thing
do?
is,
Good.
Yeah, the thing is that I want more psychers in here, and I'd like to see maybe another veteran squad here. The thing is that while this is a ton of stuff, this is only 60 bodies in the infantry. These disintegrate now. You know what I mean?
Gone. As soon as your opponent looks at them, dead.
100%.
You really do want to keep them behind walls and then move them onto your opponent's objective. And then if they step close, you're 240 las guns that reroll hits and whatnot. Or they probably don't reroll hits because they didn't stand still, but you get my point. 40, you just get killed.
I actually really want some more. I want even more trash. I'd like to see maybe a conscript squad in here.
About more
No, I'm some more bodies. It's weirdly enough, we've got a ton of stuff, but a lot of this stuff is just a zillion commanders. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the 10 vets sitting in a Chimera feels like a thing that guard just shouldn't be doing. Right?
Because I want to be able to, you have to be able to move block some people, because the problem is that as soon as somebody touches these king commanders, they can't fall back and shoot. So they're made of blast. So they've got their multi-mounts and stuff like that they're shooting whatever touches them. So I want some stuff in the way. I mean, you're going to do scout sentinels and stuff like this. This army will play amazing versus knights, by the way, because it would just put so much trash in front of them. But I want more bodies.
They can, by the way, if you play against knights, they can walk over infantry, but if you just put the infantry where they'll need to be, then they can't, because they can't land on you. And since their base is so huge, that generally means they barely even move.
And these scout sentinels are disgusting. I would just like to see I'd like to see some more special weapons in here. I'd like to see some maybe a plasma squad, maybe another Melta squad. I think we
Yeah.
already have enough commanders. I cut a couple of those. I just want some more actual bang out of this, because
I mean,
these infantry squads are. It's funny, like I said, I think that they did them wrong with that, because no one cares about these upgrades. I want 10 bodies standing on an objective, and I want them to have moved. They're not going to shoot this stuff half the time. They're going to run and take stuff. I don't really care what they have.
I would love for the 10 veterans in the Chimera to just turn into like 3 units of Scions with plasma guns that just deep strike in and just shoot you.
Yeah, I would like that a lot better, actually.
Yeah.
Because we need some more. We need more volume of AP, and multi-damage will be really, really nice. Because we need to put some stuff down, because while this has some bang with the Knight Commanders, man, if you bounce a little bit, as soon as you run out of this infantry, or somebody picks up most of these infantry, the tank commanders are going to get touched, man. And I'd like another psyker in here. Excuse me, in here too, because I'd like to be able to smite people the hell off my tanks.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like an Inquisitor, honestly. I don't think you need 3 mortar teams. They're just complete garbage into a lot of armies.
Love them.
No, I think 1 is mandatory because there's a strat to make them better.
They're 50 points for 3d6 shots.
Sure. 1 is mandatory, 2 is good, 3 is overkill. Because there's only some armies that they're even remotely good into.
You know who doesn't like to see these? All of my elf armies.
Yeah, they're grading into you. But what if they're playing literally anything else?
I keep bombing your trash.
There's only so much trash that actually does to mortars out of line of sight.
There's much trash.
Repentia, the entire Eldar Codex, but only kind of sometimes. And then, because they ignore the penalty.
They ignore the penalty.
It's Repentia, it's Eldar, and it's...
They do everything auto wounds on 6s.
Yeah, but...
I'm going to put wounds on everything. I'm going to take out a knight with these guys.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? You want to add more stuff in the list. Like, you want to add more infantry squads?
I want to add more... I want plasma
for that, my man.
Yeah, fine. If you're gonna start making sense, I also don't want this many commanders either.
Sure, I mean, but they're so cheap, you barely get any points back for them. But like a platoon commander, the 10 veterans, the Chimera, 1 heavy weapon squad should give you enough for all the plasma goodness you want.
I want a zillion plasma squads.
Yeah, I want plasma everywhere, raining death on my opponent. Yes.
I wouldn't mind another Lehman Russ Demolisher, to be honest.
No, I don't hate that. The Manticore at AP2 feels a little...
it's indirect and it smashes. So one full payload Manticore is kind of an auto for guard right now. It's just good. 3 damage.
I actually don't even know if that's true, to be honest. It's very disappointing that, Marines in cover get a 3-up.
True. Anything that doesn't make that save is dead, though. So I'm okay with that.
Sure. But you only get to fire this thing 4 turns. You don't get to fire 5. It's, into a lot of things, it's just going to bounce. There's armor contempt, and it's fine.
That's why we're adding all this plasma.
I could totally see just turning it into another tank.
And indirect is good.
Honk.
Indirect still feels good. I'm staying.
Indirect still does feel good.
But we need significantly more plasma in this army.
Yes. I want some Scion squads, Scion command squads or whatever that come down with plasma and just whoosh.
Yeah.
Because it also lets you dig people out behind terrain. Like, that's more reliable indirect for me against a lot of targets. Like the trash, you have mortars for. Everything else, there's plasma.
I'll give you that.
Your opponent doesn't get to die.
We just need more deep striking and smashing. Need a death strike. If only the death strike will eventually be good, I swear.
Honestly, even over the Manticore, I would consider taking like Basilisks. I believe they're cheaper. They're AP3. They're not bad. John was running them, and they were like shockingly not bad.
The platforms are actually cheap too. It's not like you're gonna move them around anyways, so
it's true.
You actually save some points. They have the exact same stat line.
You can't full payload them, but I'm kind of okay with that. I
love that. The review of this that boils down to sounds wrong, but I don't know enough to argue. I actually do know guard decently because a bunch of my buddies were guard players for a very long time. The thing is that the army still needs stuff that it doesn't have. So I have to actually think about exactly what I want, because I'm thinking about this on the board, because the infantry squads are very easy to pick up. So we need more things. We need speed bumps for the infantry squads, and then we need to be able to pick people up, especially in the backfield. Jack's 100% right on the deep striking with plasma, because you need to be able to threaten your opponent's backfield objectives so that their whole game plan can't be, if I touch all these tanks, I win, and just roll over the guard infantry and then just touch all the tanks.
Yeah. So I do want to put a little bit more mortal woundage in. The multi-meltas means it's a little... Multi-meltas and the las cannon means it's a little bit harder to just touch these tanks and get away with it, because if you only have one or two models, they're dead to shooting, and then the turret will fire. Right. So if you combine some mortal wounds with that, it becomes exponentially harder to actually tie the tanks down.
So I think we need a few more cast. We need at least one more, maybe two more casters. We need some dropping units of plasma, and I think that's the main things. And I actually like it going to the bats list. Hayes got a good point on that. They are strength 9 also, which does mean something when you're shooting into big T8 stuff. So
yeah, I mean the Manticore is strength 10, but
no, I'm just saying even with the swap, we're still wounding on 3s. So
yeah, that AP3 matters more than, I believe it's AP3. That matters more than it ever did before. So I could see like the Lehman Russ and the Manticore just becoming basilisks, and now nobody's safe. If you add the plasma squads, and then I don't think you can add that many more psychers. I think it's literally just an Inquisitor. If you add an Inquisitor that does mortal wounds, that's basically what you can get there. You can make a guy who casts, I believe, who knows 2 casts 2, and then you just do, or knows 1 casts 2, and you do smite and you do castigation, and that should be enough to, because that's 2d3 mortal wounds generally.
Yeah,
and then you have a Primaris Psyker there, so that's a decent number of mortal wounds. It's very hard to lock down your tanks, especially with the dregs of whatever's getting out of midfield against you.
Yeah, which the big thing is we're just trying to get people the hell off the tanks. So we don't need to kill everybody. We need to kill enough so that we can shoot our way out.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Pass gets so expensive. Oh my God.
I mean, these tank commanders are so expensive.
They are, but like they hit, so I can't really argue.
They're more durable now too. They buffed everything about them.
Yeah, so that's what I'd do. I'd add in summary with this list, I'd add in an Inquisitor to do mortal wounds. So you give him the trait of casting an extra power, and castigation. So that's just 2 mortal wound powers, castigation and smite. I would drop like the veterans in the Chimera for sure, probably 1 heavy weapon squad, and just add in 3 plasma units, and just call that a day, honestly. Also, it's offending me that this company commander could take a power sword and a bolter for free and is not, so do that, please.
He's going to be scrapping Queensberry rules.
That's right. He's got to be AP0. Let's go.
Let's go down. Reject Omen. Jormungandr. Jormungandr?
Jormungandr.
Jormungandr?
Jormungandr.
Let's talk about stuff.
Let's talk about things.
Territorial Instincts. We got a Broodlord. Neurothrope. 2 units of 10 Hormagaunts. 5 Warriors. 2 Pyrovores. 3 Zoes. 3 Zoes. Parasite of Mortrax with the Countess 5 and Obsec trait. We've got heavy support, 3 Biovores. We've got a total of 5 Screamer Killers. I feel like I'm missing so much stuff in this list.
Yeah, it does feel like there's a lot less stuff. But then you realize he's got 5 Screamer Killers.
I am super not... I love Screamer Killers when I first saw them. Then I put them on the table several games in a row. And they're just okay.
They're straight up just okay.
They're not bad, but the problem is
you're not bad.
You're going to get move blocked. You're not doing damage from range. You just don't have... I'd like to lean in one way or the other here. I don't know what we're trying... What our...
Yeah, this feels like you're trying to be Big Boy list, and that can totally work. Team Big Boy is a plan, but it's a bit odd that the only Big Boys that you have are 5 Screamer Killers. I mean, if you're going for Carnifex Heavy, that is a game plan. I still feel like we don't
have enough points here.
I think I felt the same way, and then I just counted it up, and it was 2K. But I mean, 320, 425, 26, 70, 750.
Hold on, I'm using a
9,
calculation device.
1050, 1130, 1265. I'm racing you, by the way.
I'm old.
1865, 19.
Nope, it's exactly
1910.
2000.
Yeah, it's exactly 2K.
All right, here's the deal. First off, Hormagaunts for 100 points are garbage.
Yeah, I don't love them. I mean, they can just be warriors. Like, they can just be warriors.
Let's just be
honestly.
warriors. I mean, why are we not being warriors at that point in time? It's just, they're so much better. Hormagaunts, sadly enough, all the gaunts are kind of overpriced now in the new book. There's a ton of stuff that's amazingly priced and amazing, such as
I mean,
warriors.
even before when Tyranids were giga broken, Hormagaunts and Termagants just weren't it. They still weren't it, even when they were giga broken, and now they're really just still not it. If you're going big boy heavy, like you're going big monsters, Brad and I both know that's a plan that can work. I would probably just lean into that. So that means 3x3 warriors. Probably only, I mean, Zoanthropes are fine because they do rain mortals on your opponent. The Pyrovores probably want to go. You're literally just making room for as many monsters as possible.
Well, the thing is, Jonathan goes, the trick with this list is you can use the Yorm strat to deep strike the Screamer Killers, but your opponent's just not letting you just have great spots for that. Like, most lists are just going to push out. Then you're just going to deep strike into your own territory and just...
You concede so much pressure off that.
Right. So
you're basically running a list that doesn't have anything on the hope that your opponent is going to just let you deep strike in an advantageous position. Or deep strike at all, because I have personally body blocked people off the entire board before so that they can't come in. And if that happens to a unit of 3 Screamer Killers, guess what? You're in rough shape.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, he goes, it was thought of as an idea to force the Silent King to engage your range early, but it's not a good since you get an overwhelm turn. They're just not going to let you. They're going to literally make you deploy in a 10-inch spot in your backfield. Especially playing like Necrons with this, and you put everything in deep strike, they're just push you back.
Oh my god. Yeah, the 6-inch pregame move plus the fact that everything moves like 14 means that you may not get to deep strike on the board at all.
Yeah.
Let alone your deployment zone at all.
I'd like to make we could make a big guy list. Do we have notes for this before we start changing everything?
I did not see any. I'll double check.
It's just this has no identity. You know what I mean? So that's my biggest problem with it is that we don't feel like we're trying to do any one thing, and it feels like we're one of basically the number one army right now, smashing, tell you the truth. As far as just beating up on things. Screamer Killer, sorry. Force the Screamer Killers in engage for. Sorry, I thought we were anti that. Screamer Killers. That's my bad, guys. I thought we were talking about trying to kill the Necron menace.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Silent King is on everyone's brain right now. Yeah. I personally think Necrons are the best army because they just sit back and win the game if you don't do anything.
I was about to say, this is the Tyranids are the best army that's not Necrons or Sisters. How about that?
There we go.
That's kind of where I was going.
Yeah, that's probably it. I think it's Necrons, then Sisters, then Nids, then Tau, is my guess.
I would go with that.
Yeah. So Reject Omen just says, okay, help me out with this one.
I kind of want to revamp this hardcore.
Yeah, so I want to keep the spirit of it alive. Because the spirit is I want to overwhelm my opponent with big, dumb bugs. And I love that plan personally, and I think it is underrated, especially among the competitive crowd, where they're like, ooh, but what if I'm just a better player and I can leverage player skill? And I'm like, just hit your opponent with a brick of a list.
This guy told me one time to stop being so cute and to bring pain. Also, I just got bit by a spider on my foot, so I'm very annoyed.
You okay there, bud?
It itches so bad now. The spider also stayed on my foot, like to basically just taunt me, apparently. He is super dead now.
Yeah, you don't get to take that kind of tone with Brad Chester.
He just looked at me like, what? You should have moved your foot, bro.
So looking at this, Harpies are super good. I personally like Stranglethorn cannons on them instead of the Heavy Venom cannons, because the Heavy Venom cannons make them expensive really fast. like super expensive, like 210, 220 if you include like synaptic enhancements and whatnot. I've seen some very expensive harpies, and they are not worth it at that price point in my mind. I think you just want double Stranglethorn cannons on them and just ball out, you know? Just absolutely ball out.
Goes to the hospital. We're gonna find out I'm randomly allergic to spiders. That would be really bad for me, by the way.
Yeah, that
since
would.
there's a million of them where I live.
So looking at this list, I want it to be Team Big Boy. You want it to be Team Big Boy. Let's make it Team Big Boy.
Well, let's do Team Big Boy, but Team Big Boy and keep the mortals out. I love the double Zoes right now.
I do actually like them, yeah.
And then
I could see dropping one just because points equal more Big Boy, but I do like Zone Thrust.
I wanted to Obliterax Hive Tyrant.
Yes. So first off,
Broodlord, get out of here.
Broodlord and the Broodlord and one Neurothrope are going to become a Flyrant. That is almost a straight swap, and you get an extra monster. And this guy hurts people really bad.
You know what? Jonathan's got a good point real quick on this. I apologize. Foot Tyrant with Chadgill and Heightened Senses is amazing. Yorm's High Fleet Adaptation is dense cover for monsters outside of 18 inches. That's not terrible. You know what I mean?
It's not terrible, and it also means you're not at risk of losing your imperatives anytime you commit them.
Let's put it this way. Let's start with a Hive Tyrant to be named, the future name.
Yeah. On foot, winged, you're including one.
Yeah, we're gonna put a Hive Tyrant in here for sure.
Yeah. Both variations are amazing. I would take multiples if I could in each detachment, but you can't.
I'm deep sixing all of these Screamer Killers.
Yes, they're all gone. If
Sorry,
you want
Ejector
Carnifexes, you're taking a Heavy Venom Cannon Enhanced Senses one, and I will hear no arguments.
They're so good for what their cost. They can shoot down. They also are good in hand to hand. They're just not bad at all.
Yeah, the Screamer Killers are like better for what it's worth, but that's really not how the list doesn't rush your opponent down and get into combat in their deployment zone. It really just bullies the mid board, and then if you can get into combat with them, hot. But you really just want more guns. And yes, Screamer Killers have like the plasma whatever, but nah. So
we might take two detachment, guys. We might decide if we decide we want two Hive Tyrants, we have to make two detachments because we can only have one Hive Tyrant per.
I do like two Hive Tyrants.
So I
do like that.
The only problem with Mr. N is that if we go with Turvagons, it's way a different list. It becomes kind of a spammy list.
It becomes 3 Turvagons plus, Gaunts. And that's the whole list. It's not a bad list. It's just a very different list.
The thing is, in the Hormagaunts, I would take Gargoyles every single day, twice on Sundays before I would take Hormagaunts. Flying OPSEC is just good, and they don't also come at a premium price.
Yeah. I would, honestly, I think we just take the bare minimum troops here. Everything is OBSEC with Territorial Instincts, so just take 3x3 warriors. They're thick enough to be annoying and just camp objectives and just be really annoying. And that's what we're looking for.
So I like that. Let's go ahead and do 3x3 warriors. Let's get ourselves. You know what? Screw it. We're gonna take. You want to just do double patrol?
I'd love to do double patrol.
Let's just do double patrol.
Cut a unit of warriors, get an extra Hive Tyrant. What isn't to love? You know.
Yeah. Let's kill these Pyrovores unless we're gonna do 2 1-mans to just.
Nope. Get them out. We're on Team Big Boy, Brad.
Team Big Boy. Team Big Boy. Sorry.
Team Big Boy.
We're keeping the double Zoes though.
If we're keeping double Zoes, I want to cut Parasite. That boy is 80 points, and he could be most of a big boy.
He's most of a big boy. He has 5 models. Well, everybody's OBSEC, so I guess it doesn't count. He is so sneaky though.
Parasite's great. I think if we cut a Zoanthrope unit, I want to keep Parasite. That's what I want to do. But here's the thing for anyone in chat who's like wants to make their own lists in this sort of style. Not even Tyranids, nor Tyranids. Any sort of critical mass. There's too much big stuff in your face for you to deal with, right? Too much beef, as Brad would say.
Beef.
So you want to hit a critical mass of big boys in anything you do, but especially in Warhammer. And when you hit that critical mass that your opponent can't deal with, that's how you win games. And if you take a bunch of tech pieces and you take a bunch of little stuff and you skimp on the big boys, you don't hit that critical mass of big boy stuff, your opponent can deal with it, and then none of your cute stuff matters because your first game plan doesn't work. So that is that's the main thing, is you want to make sure you have that critical mass of big, thick gentlemen before you start adding in cute stuff, because if you're below that critical mass, you have played yourself, you are going to lose games.
Why double zone if we're going into the big boy plan? I still want mortals, to be honest.
I don't hate them. This list definitely starts with 1, and then if you have points left, which, spoiler alert, you will not, but if you do, then you include the second unit.
You know what, Adam? I really like the Haruspex. I think he's cool.
The Haruspex is not bad, because he heals up, and in melee matchups, that's really annoying at toughness 8, and like still pretty cheap. I mean, let me pull up the points changes, so that I can know what I'm talking about instead of not.
While he's saying this, I do have to say, when you're looking at lists, Jack made a life-changing statement to me when he went, you know, everybody's all right with you being good at 40K. Why don't you just bring better lists that aren't so cute? And the thing is you have to look at all of your lists with a damage output in mind, because people might just push up big guys, Tyranid warriors, Necrons, just whatever. They could put a amount of beef in front of you, and you have to have a damage check on your list, which means that I have to put out a certain volume of attacks and damage in return, so that I can overcome if somebody just says, I'm going to put my army mid-board and I'm going to push it into you next turn. Can you deal with this? Now the answer...
Your answer has to be yes.
Exactly. Every time you're making a list, while I love my trash, I also have a ton of damage, because you have to be able to answer that.
Yeah, it's the bare minimum to play the game. If you pair into somebody who's attempting to stat check you and your stats are not up to code, you don't get to play the game.
Yep.
Right? If you are able to kill them, that's when you can start playing the game, but not before.
So what are you thinking, Jack? You are very excited about big boys, I know.
I love big boys.
You do love the big
Large
boys.
lads. So Harpies are 175 with double Stranglethorn, and they're 205 with double Heavy Venom Cannon. So if you include them, Stranglethorns. Just do it. They're cheaper. They fire more shots, so they're better against sisters. What's not to love?
I want double Hive Tyrant, because we're going double detachment. I want double Hive Tyrant. I want a Chad Gullet. I want a Reaper of Obliterax. I want double...
We are going to start running out of CP very fast.
I want double... No, we're still playing with 12 CP in my mind, because I'm going to make this list awesome.
Right. So looking at the big beefy boys that I want, double Hive Tyrant is great. Old One Eye is not bad, but a little expensive. Really, if you're making a big boy list, you can just pick off of the guys I'm reading off, and then just find some combination that fits 2K, and you're good. Because it doesn't really matter which ones you take, just that you take enough mass that your opponent can't deal with it. So you can, take Old One Eye, or you can take, a...
Old One Eye is awesome. Why are we not already putting him in?
We can. We totally can. You can take...
He's got super cool fluff, too.
He big lad, don't want to die?
Big lad, don't want to die. Old One Eye, double Hive Tyrant, double stupid things that fly.
Yeah, double Hive Tyrant.
double Harpy.
Double Hive Tyrant, double Harpy. You need a Neurothrope, and
Old One Eye.
Old One Eye is super hot if you want to include him.
We need Zoes.
2 units of Warriors. Haruspex is not bad. Haruspex is good. I wouldn't take more than 1, but 1 is fine.
We're bringing a Zoe unit, damn it. I know it's not a big boy, but it is a billion mortals.
A single Moloch is really good for taking objectives away because they're cheap. They're 125, and you just pick a point on the board, and then you can show up right next to your opponent, and they're 5 models OBSEC. So one Moloch is like super good in that kind of list. Harpies are good with Stranglethorn cannons in my mind. The Carnifexes with enhanced senses, a heavy venom cannon are great. The Tyrannifex with an acid spray is really good. Like if you have a couple Carnifexes and a couple Tyrannifexes, you have really good mid-range shooting. Now you can't include that with all of the Hive Tyrantage.
You have points up. We
you.
need to make sure this actually fits.
Oh, I'm just naming good
yeah,
boys.
But like I want at least 2 double. I want 2 heavy venom cannon, heavy venom cannon Carnifexes.
Okay, so those are 115 base plus the heavy venom cannon for 10, 125 enhanced senses for 10, so 135 for each of those.
So 270.
If you want to whip out your high-tech abacus that you have over there.
What do you mean? Doesn't everyone use an abacus?
Well, you're using electronic abacus.
270 plus 2 harpies.
So 270 plus 2 harpies, that's 350 for the 2 harpies.
Plus 2 hive tyrants.
Okay, so the 2 hive tyrants.
He's 175 for the one.
No, they got a points upgrade. It's 180 base for the one and 210 base for the other. So I'm pretty sure that the winged hive tyrant comes in at a cool 225 with adrenal glands, and then the walkrent comes in at a clean 195. I think if you just give him a heavy venom cannon, which sounds good to me. So 195 and 225.
I already got the warriors. I'm putting in my Zoes because I'm putting them in.
I would like 2 Tyrannifexes in this list.
I don't know what cost on the Tyrannifex off the top of my head. Is it still 170?
380 for 2.
We're at basically 1700.
That's with troops and Zoes?
That's with troops and Zoes.
Damn. We could include Old One Eye in this.
I don't know what Old One Eye's cost is, to be honest.
235.
We've got like 70 points of trash. I'm fine with it.
Honestly, I would cut Old One Eye. I would get like a 3rd Tyrannifex in that list, and then you have points for a unit of Venom Thropes.
Sorry, we already got Old One Eye. Old One Eye's already in there, man. He says he's not going home. He says he's not going home.
Nowhere.
Ain't going over. He's like, look, guys.
He's not bad in this build. Do you have a Neurothrope?
Yep.
Really? This list has a Neurothrope, troops, and Zoes, and it's only 1,700?
Well, no, now it's 1930 or something.
Sure. I do think that the Old One Eye should become a 3rd Tyrannifex.
I think Old One Eye says that he's thinks that you should watch your mouth. Or he's gonna come knocking.
He should. You can turn a squad of warriors into gargoyles. Honestly, you can turn both squads of warriors into gargoyles.
I actually like that quite a bit.
So they go to 80 points instead of 90. So you gain 20 points on the list. Where are we at?
Oh, we're done.
No. Where are we?
No. I'm saying we're done with points. Points are long gone.
Oh, we're out of points?
We're out of points.
You said we had 300 left. We added Old One Eye, so we should have 65 left. And then we should have 85 left with swapping the warriors for gargoyles?
No, because I already put them in at that point. In my mind, I had already made them gargoyles.
Right, so we should have 85 points left.
No, that was with gargoyles.
Got it, so 65 points.
So it's done. Just sit down.
So that's like one...
I actually want to play this.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think it's real good, actually. I personally, as I said, would cut Old One Eye for a 3rd Turvagon and 3 Venom Thropes.
Tree fitting.
But it were, something in that...
I'm not going to lie.
In that mold is like brutal.
That's a lot of big boys coming at you, by the way.
How many big boys did we end up getting? We ended up getting 2 Tyrants, 2 Harpies, 2 Carnifexes, 2 Tyrannifexes. Anything else?
Old One Eye.
And Old One Eye. Jesus.
Yeah. So I'm saying that's just
what is it? 9 monsters?
It's a lot of things, and we had some Zoes and other crap in there.
Yeah, that's 9 monsters.
Yeah, I mean that'll bang.
Oof.
That'll do.
That bangs.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
There are plenty of armies that don't even get to the playing the game phase against that.
Yeah, you
just can't.
You push that up, and you say, "What are you gonna do about it?"
Has a decent amount of shooting. Has a okay amount of mortals.
My big guys, bring the boys to the yard. What's that?
But, I mean, you could also include like a Spore Assist on something if you really felt like it, but I probably wouldn't. Man, that was just gross.
Yeah. It's good times.
I wonder if John has that. I could take that to Nova.
I still
what exactly are Necrons supposed to do into that? Brad, answer me that. What are they supposed to do?
I don't know, because you could just be on them turn 2 and just be like, figure it out.
Turn 1, you have 15 models OBSEC on the center objective. They have no prayer of killing. Back to you, buddy. Turn 2, I'm right on your doorstep. Turn 3, I'm charging you. And nowhere in that process do Necrons have any way to interact with it. Not to mention that the Harpies are just like, hey, you're a unit, gone. You're a unit, gone.
I mean, unfortunately, Necrons will score 45 somehow on secondaries by turn 3.
True. Well, they can't if they don't get to control the center objective.
Exactly. He goes, take the board and score 100. Yes, Necrons are pretty annoying.
No, Adam is correct in chat. Adam Lane. They do move block you to death, and this list secondaries are all right, but not great. Just all right. But your game plan is, hey, Necrons, do you need to hold the objective in order to do your secondaries? And they go, yes. And then you just go 15 miles OBSEC on the center objective, 15 miles OBSEC on this objective, 15 miles OBSEC on this objective. Back to you.
Murder.
Yep. They can't score their secondaries.
Let's do stuff.
It's pretty good.
Jack, are you ready to Queen's Wave our way out of here? Or we can actually
Always.
dance our way out of here if you want to. I feel good about that.
I think that list absolutely slaps people up, by the way.